but we're gonna talk a little bit about distance and movement and kind of how it works. So one of the things that I was doing while I was sitting in my hotel was messaging back and forth with my buddy Will, who does my online course, and he had an opportunity to work on one of the dry fire drills in the dry fire program. Basically, it's an exit drill, and it's about dropping the gun and remounting the gun and trying to hit a specific, distance. The one thing that's interesting about Will is I believe he's like 6'5", 6'6", something crazy, giant hands, long giraffe legs. So the thing with him is he's got to understand that at some point, or everybody has to understand at some point, the more you try to reach out is the worse it's gonna get when the gun gets there. So, and what that means is if I press off, if I stay square to the target, I'm gonna end up side shuffling and I'm just gonna end up crashing and the gun's just gonna go wild. So once you get to a certain point, and it's about 3 steps, once you get to about outside of that 3 steps or even that 3 steps, depending on how far you need to go, you're gonna have to stop jumping and you're gonna have to start taking that extra step and making that pivot with the hips. So I'm gonna give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about and you'll kind of get a chance to see here. So I kind of have a line here. So I'm just gonna kind of give you guys an example of kind of a natural movement, and I'm not gonna try to run, or gain a whole lot of distance on the first one. So to be up, it's bang, just one press off, then kind of a step and then turn. So I'm probably gonna end up right about here. So I'll kind of give you a little bit of, I'll throw the ball there so you can kind of see that 10. That 10 is what I'm trying to do, right? Trying to get to right about here. So if I come from this line and I push off really hard to get there, and I shoot and I push off really hard, I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna crash into that ball, and it's gonna create, the gun is gonna go up and down like crazy. Now, I got the distance. The thing that was important to me was the amount of distance that I got. If you noticed, I stayed pretty square to the target. So I went bang, and I just kind of turned my hips barely, and I tried to jump over. But now I have no control at the end. So what I want to do to kind of clean some of that up is I need to open up my hips and kind of turn it into a normal run. And then I'm gonna just make my hips kind of the priority. So I'm gonna plant my left foot so that I can turn into that position. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. I'll do it a little bit slow here. So it's gonna be bang. I'm gonna push off with my left foot because that's where the power is. Step. I'm gonna take that extra step that I need, and then I'm just gonna rotate, turn in, and then get onto the target. As you can tell, I'm right here where the red ball is. The thing is it takes no effort to do that. I didn't have to jump. I have complete control over my body, and my feet are always underneath me. As soon as I start trying to stretch out is when I start missing that position. So I'll kind of show you again. I'm gonna do it in speed, and I'm gonna take that extra step. So here we go. And you can kind of see where I have complete control when I land. There's no jumping, there's no diving. So now I'm gonna try to reach that in one push off. Ready? And you can kind of see like I'm out of control. I'm kind of weaving in and out. There's a lot of level changes. Everything has to do with how your body works naturally. Your body naturally works with your hips facing forward. As soon as you don't turn your hips, you start doing odd things. Now, what's important isn't so much that I can't make it to the ball, because obviously I made it to the ball every time, even if I pressed off really hard. There's 2 things that happen. One, you're very susceptible to injuries by doing super odd. Anything you start stretching out, like long distance, you're gonna pull your groin, you're gonna start having calf issues, you're gonna start pulling that hamstring. Don't ask me how I know. And then the most important part beyond the injuries, because if you can't shoot, you're not in the match anyway. The other thing that's most important about it is, what does it do to the gun? So when I get in there, no matter how much I try to control, no matter how physical I am, if I jump into that position, the gun goes up, the gun goes down, and I have to wait for it to crash and land and then have the dot completely calm. Versus if I basically walk at full speed. So it's bang, push, and I'm right there and I control that position. Again, guys, this is very scenario based, but you're talking about if I'm taking 3 full steps, there's 2, there's 3, that third step is natural for me just to take that left step. Instead, everybody wants to take that first one, and then they want to turn that hip, and then they want to try to drive that foot over to the right, and that's where they make their mistakes. All right? If you got any questions, hit me up in those comments, and I'll see you on the range.